Hello, this is Shelly from Koala Knits and Knacks, and I'm very happy to show you this video because it's such a cute little item to make. It's called a yip yip. You'll find it on your favorite kids show in the morning. I don't want to mention it here because I don't know if I'll have copyright issues if I do, but yip yips are the cutest little things. I actually have some adults who bought them and use them on their line for clothespins. So, I mean, they just blow in the wind and they're so cute. But for kids, they can fill them with their little toys, or you can use them as a gift bag. They can put their little wallet in there and carry it around to the store with them with a few little items in it, or use it as a pajama bag. Like so many things, use it as a gift bag. So I used my Addi 22 and my, I used my Addi 46 needle for the body and the 22 for the eyes. You're going to need some pipe cleaners for the antenna and some fiber fill. And yeah, let's just go ahead and have fun. Ready? We're going to get started. Let's take our waste yarn, which is a contrasting color to what you're going to use for your working yarn so that you can see the stitches to close the ends easily. Okay, we're going to bring our last white, my first black needle in line with our yarn feeder. And if you're new to my channel, you'll know that I color this red divider in between those two with a black permanent marker. I've been saying for the last few videos that I need to redo that, and I haven't done it yet, but it's going to happen soon. Okay, so then we're going to go behind that first black one, in front of the next, behind, in front, behind, in front, behind, in front, all the way around with our waste yarn. This is called the long tail cast on. Okay, until we get all the way around and it goes behind that last white needle, and open your yarn feeder latch, close it. And then we're going to do as many rows of waste yarn that you're comfortable with. I generally do 7 or 8. I'm not sure how long this piece of waste yarn is going to be here that I grabbed, but it should get at least 7 rows out of it. Let's try. And 3. I've only used it once and I think I did 8 rows on it, so it should be good. 4. 6. I'm just going to stay on with you. And 7. I'm going to do one more. And 8. And halfway through that last row, I'm going to set my counter to 0. So I'm ready to go. And I'm going to finish off this row. Open my yarn guide here. Grab my scissors 1 second here. I'm going to cut off the end here. Yeah, I don't think I would have made it around another round, so that's good. Put it between the last white and the first black, then I'm going to grab my working yarn, okay? Now, I'm using the, again, the Forever Fleece Finer, which is a discontinued yarn. I'm just going to check the ball here. What weight is this? I think it's a 5 weight. It is a bulky 5 weight. So if you want your project to be much the same size that mine is, then find a 5 weight yarn that you like and go ahead and do that. And if not, just use your 4 weight yarn. It's okay. It'll still, whatever yarn you choose, it's going to work beautifully. So no worries there. So I'm going to insert my working yarn into my yarn feeder in between my last white and my first black. I'm going to hold both of those ends. I'm going to do 3 or 4 needles. Then I'm going to pull that just so that those first few stitches are going to be just as tight as the rest of them. So it's even tension. Otherwise, your first few stitches are loose on every row that you do a yarn or a color change. Okay. So then now that I got that going, I always do my first 2 or 3 rows quite slow, just because I want to make sure that those needles catch the yarn and we get a good start to this project. Okay. Okay. These yip yips have been really good sellers for me. People love them, and you know, for Christmas, they're great because you can, you know, fill them with treats and give them to a little kid as a gift already full, or use them as the new stocking that you hang on your mantle for a little child. I think that would be just adorable, actually. Okay, and we're going to just keep going here. Okay, now I can go a little bit faster, and I'm going to continue on till I get 100 rows. Okay, oops. Let me take that little hair out of there. Till we get 100 rows, but when I get to about 55 or 60, my project starts to touch the base of the table, and that's when I'll roll it up in a donut. So when I get there, I will stop and I'll show you what I do for those of you who are new and haven't rolled your projects into a donut before. What that does is it gives, when you roll it into a donut, it gives even tension around your barrel here and your stitches remain even. So I'll show you that when we get there. All right, so keep going until you get to 100 rows, or when it starts to touch the base of the table, then see me back and I'll show you what I do. So this is 55 rows, and you can see that it's touching the table there. And what that does, if you don't roll it up, what it does is it gets it puts some slack on your the top of the rim here, and that's how you can lose stitches off your little red teeth here, and then you drop a stitch and the row unravels down. So that's one reason why you roll it. The other reason why you roll it is because then it puts even tension. So you roll as you go along. So now that I have this part rolled up every 10 or 15 rows, whenever it starts to get lower, I don't wait till it reaches the table, maybe halfway down, then I'll roll it again. And it keeps the pressure around the barrel here as you're going around, and keeps those loops on the red teeth, but it gives you even tension. So there's, you know, a good reason for why you should roll this up, more than just dropping stitches. Okay, so it's for that reason and for keeping your tension even. So and then it just keeps it nice and neat too, and it's not just all bunched up and you know, in your way. So there you go. So now that you've got that done, you're going to keep going until you need to stop and roll again, or untangle the ball, like what I'm doing. And then you keep going till you get to row 100, and I'll see you when we get there. All right. All right, so I'm on row 100, and I'm going to finish that row. I'm watching for that black divider to come around. There it is. So I know that when it gets in front of my yarn feeder, then I'm done. Okay, so now I'm going to cut off about 1.5 feet, because I need to use it to sew up the ends later. So there we go. I'm going to put that like that. Maybe you don't need quite that much, but I always leave a longer tail. Then I'm going to insert my waste yarn into my yarn guide in between my last white, my first black. I'm going to hold both of those yarn ends inside. Then I'm going to crank it a few stitches. Then I'm going to just tie a knot, just so that just one tie, so that it doesn't come undone. And I'm going to do, again, 7 or 8 rows of waste yarn. It's a quick project because 100 rows doesn't take you very long to do. But the outcome is so sweet. It's such a cute little thing, this Yip Yip bag. Now, I've made them for a while, and I would say months ago, I posted them on a group, and someone said, you know, they're so small, what use are they? But I have sold a lot of them. And the thing is they're small, but that kids can fit a pair of pajamas in there for a pajama bag. They can use it as a gift bag and put toys in there for a friend. You know, if they're going on a trip in their car, fill it full of their favorite little toys, maybe Polly Pockets or Lego or whatever, and it's perfect size for that, and carry it along, and there you go. So I cut off my waste yarn, I inserted it, I put it between my last white, my first black. Shut your latch so that the needle doesn't catch it and break your needle, and then you're going to crank. And on the second time around, it'll come off. You know what I've also sold them for is what you call them, when you put your clothes on the clothesline and you have those little clothespins. Losing my mind, I can't think about what it is. Putting clothespins in them. One of the ladies I worked with thought that they were the cutest thing, and she bought a couple of them for gifts too for her family. And you fill them with clothespins and hang them on your line, and they just blow in the wind. The cutest little thing. So there's an idea for you as well. Okay, so now that we have it off, I'm going to remove my machine, and we'll go on to the next part. Okay, so I have it off the machine, and I'm going to just take the one end here. It doesn't matter which end you choose first. We're going to take my 2 favorite stitch markers, which are bobby pins. You're going to look for that working yarn color, and you see the stitch that it's coming out from under. It's coming out from under this one. So you go above it, and you take that stitch. That's where it's actually coming from. This stitch is going around underneath this one and through. So you're going to take that top one, put your stitch marker. We're going to count that as our 46th stitch. Then we're going to make sure that our yarn end is outside of your work. And then the one where the waste yarn is coming out of, that's our first stitch. So we're going to put a stitch marker in there. Okay, put that outside. We know there's 46 stitches on here, so I'm going to count around to the 24th because the 23rd and the 24th stitch are exact center from these 2 points, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Those are the corner stitches, okay? So I'm going to go under 24. I don't want that hook. It's too big. I'm going to grab my 4.5 millimeter. I'm going to go under the 24. You can grab whichever one you like best, but this is the one I like. And then I'm going to go to 23rd, essentially. Pull that through the loop on my hook. That's the second stitch. Always count so you make sure you've worked all 46 stitches, because if you miss one of these, and once you take off your waste yarn, it's going to unravel your row. So I count this first one that was on my hook as 1. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, and again, it doesn't matter if you grab your stitch from underneath that like that, or if you grab it from over top like this. The only thing you're doing is getting it through the loop on the hook. So however you choose to do that, it's not going to affect the pattern, okay? Okay, so you're going to go all the way down the line, picking up those stitches. They're called working stitches, so we know that this is our waste yarn. The working stitches is the working yarn that you see in between those two little waste yarn loops, okay? Keep going all the way down, okay, till you get to your 45th and 46th stitches. Once you've done this a few times, you'll be able to motor through it with no problems. I find it very relaxing to do this part, actually. I really enjoy it. Okay, getting near to the end. And again, you don't have to use 5-weight yarn. You can use whatever you like. You can use 4-weight yarn, you can use 3-weight yarn, you can whatever works in your machine, you can use, and you can make the same project. Okay, let me go, here we go. You might choose to make it a little bit longer, so you get a bit of a bigger bag. You can do it on your Sentro 48 and it'll be 2 stitches wider. You could do 2 panels and sew them together and make it really big. You really just use your imagination, and you can follow the same guidelines and create your own size. Okay, so this is 45. I'm going to pick it up, put my hook underneath it. Oops. And work that stitch, then pull up on this one so I can get under that stitch. That's 46. Work that, yarn over, pull it through that loop. I don't need this long of a tail, but I don't know why I told you to do that, but we'll see. We do need a tail, but that's probably a bit long. Okay, and so then you're going to unravel your working yarn, or your waste yarn, just like that. So this was the easy side. So this was the end of my project, of course, because the end of your project has the easier side to take out. I'll show you the other side, and then we will we'll have those 2 ends done. Okay, pull that, get rid of my waste yarn there. Okay, and so then I'm going to unroll my donut, and then I like to give it a stretch widthwise and lengthwise before I sew up the other end. Okay, just give it a little stretch, and just puts all the stitches in line, softens your project up a little bit, and it's just a good habit to do. Okay, so now we're going to work on the other side. So same thing, essentially. You're going to untie your little knot there. Okay, so for this one, this side, you'll see that these are where the 2 stitches are. Okay, it looks a little bit different, but you look for the one where there's 2 stitches and then there's 1. So when you find that 2 stitches there, you're going to go to the top one, and that's your 46th stitch, and then this first one is your first stitch. Okay, you're going to go ahead and count around, do the same thing you did with the other one, going into stitch 24, and then that will be your first stitch, wherever 24 is. I haven't counted, I'll count before I go ahead and do it. But if that's 24, then you pick up 23 and you go through the loop on your hook, and then you go back and forth, up and down, all the way till you get to the end, tie it off and finish it off like you did that other end. And then I'll show you how you remove this side of waste yarn. Okay? All right, so we have all 46 stitches finished off there, and doesn't that look just so pretty? That's such a nice finish on an end. Okay, and so now we're going to roll up. This is the beginning of our project. This is where we started, and that's always a harder one to take out. So you find where your tail is, and you just go over to the right a little bit, and you roll up the rim there, and you pinch a stitch, and then you pull that top layer out. Okay, then you go down 10-15 stitches, pinch the stitch on the left, and pull out the top row. Do the same thing, go down a few stitches, pinch that stitch, and then pull to the right of it. You do that all the way around the first row of stitches, and then it will unravel just as nicely as the other end did. Okay, once you get past the first row. Almost there. See, that's the last stitch. So now this will just pull off like a dream. The only thing is you want to make sure that these little ends here don't get all tangled in your yarn as you pull it out. Okay, I got a snag there. Okay, but it just comes off just as nicely as the other end did. And then you pull it, and there you have it. All done. See? Perfect. Now you got two flat edges on your project. And the next thing we're going to do is sew it up, one side up. We're going to put it in half, and we're going to go down about 10 stitches. I see that that's a little, I want to go the other way. I'm going to make it so that if you see one side that's got a little bit of, maybe there's a looser stitch or something, put that on the inside, okay? And so you're going to fold it up like this, take the bottom and fold it up. And you're going to count down literally about 10 stitches from the side. So let me just grab my marker here. Okay, I literally counted 10 stitches down, and that's about 2 inches. And then I placed a marker on that side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. Okay, you can use bobby pin too, but because I want to leave them there for a bit, these ones that close up are nicer for this actually project. Okay, so I'm going to find my side there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I'm going to do that too, but you can always measure it, make sure they're the same. And it's not, look at that. So I missed a stitch. Just fold it in half and do it that way too, and you can make sure that you get them the same. Okay, so if I do that, then I'm going to put it right in this stitch. Okay, so they're both 2 inches. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to take my corner and put it up there, right where that stitch marker is. I'm going to undo this stitch marker now that I've figured out my location. I'm going to pick up that first stitch, then I'm going to pick up that same stitch that I had it in, and I'm going to put them together just like that. Okay, do the same thing on this side. Okay, just stick it in through that first stitch at the top there and close it up. And there we go. So now you can see that's what it's looking like so far. So then we're going to choose one side now that it's in half and place where we want it to be. We're going to now close up this side, okay, with the braided stitch. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to, I like to start down here because I want to finish up here and make sure my knot is there. I don't want to have a knot down here. So it's a little bit tricky, but you can do it. You want to find, again, the row where the wide part of the stitch is going up on both sides. Okay, so what I mean by that is that, let me find my marker here. The wide part of your V of the stitch is at the top on both sides. That's how we're going to do our connect that row, okay? So if you have to just turn it just a half a turn there, half a row, to get that to line up, then so be it. That's what you need to do because then you'll have a nicer finish in the end, okay? So we're going to go ahead and smooth that on down the line till we get to the bottom, following that same row. It's a little tricky to start, but once you start, then you'll get it no problem, okay? So we've got that on down the line. Got my row figured out. I'm going to choose the bottom one here, okay? Can you see what I've done? I've gone, there's this one on this side and this one on this side. I'm going to choose the very bottom one. Then I'm going to go across and I'm going to figure out which one I think is the bottom one there. I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to put it through the stitch that's on my hook. Then I'm going to, that's where we came out of right there. So I'm going to count that as 1 and 2. So I'm going to miss one, pick up the next one. Okay, so I'm going to go over here, 1, 2, pick up that next one, staying on the same row, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's the best way I can explain it, is to count the spaces. Okay, so this is the one that was worked. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So we're missing this bar and we're going into this next one. Okay, you're going to do that all the way up. And it just makes a very pretty side. Okay, and we're going to do this on the other side as well. And that's how we're going to close off the other side. So you can see what this is doing. It's bringing our bag together. I'm in a craft sale in 2 weeks. It's actually my first craft sale I've ever done. I'm a bit nervous about it. I think I've got enough stuff. I've been stockpiling beanies and bears and cuddle bears and sleepy time bears and scarf and hat sets and yips. I've got a good selection of stuff that I'm going to take into that sale. It is the first time that they will have had a craft sale in the location that I'm going. So we don't know if it's going to be busy or if it's going to be, you know, slow or whatever. But, you know, I told my husband that if it's not busy and I come home with like all these beanies that weren't sold, well, I'm going to go straight down into Winnipeg to the shelters and I'm going to gift them with a bunch of beanies. So you know what, it's a win-win no matter what, because I would love to do that as well. So and if I sell them all, then I still might go ahead and make a pile of beanies and take them down throughout the winter, because I know that some of you do that, some of you that are in some of the groups that we're in, that you do that for donation sake, and you know what, it's just such a good thing to do. So I may follow your lead and do that as well. Okay, so let me get into this last little one here, if I can get my hook in there. That one's a little bit tricky. It's giving me some trouble there. It's because that stitch marker is bugging me there. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to get that one up there, and then I'm going to take this one here. Stitch marker will be pulling on that one too. I'm going to just go ahead and take this marker right out of there. Okay, because I know that that's where I'm going to go. So then I'm going to go into this one. I'll do one more here, if it will let me. Nope, not gonna let me. So I'm just gonna go 1. Instead of counting 1, 2, I'm just gonna count 1, and I'm gonna take this as my last one, right there. And this one, I'll do 1 on that side too. And then I'll take that yarn end that was there, I'll yarn over and I'll pull it through. Then I'm gonna use this yarn end to tie off. But look at that side. Isn't that so pretty? So cute. Okay, so that's what, and you know what, if you use a solid color of yarn, that's going to even be more prominent and it's going to be just beautiful. So go ahead and do that on the other side, and when you're done that, we'll move on to the next step. All right, so I've sewn up both sides, and I don't have a end tail here to close this off, so I'm just going to add one. So what I do is I just take a piece of yarn, put it on my needle, and I just leave a small tail on one side. I tie a knot, and then I'm going to hide both ends. But before I do that, I got to find this little piece that I just lost. Here we go, right there. Okay, so then I'm going to thread my needle with the other end now. With the longer end, I'm going to catch that last stitch that I worked up the side there, and then I'm just going to sew it. Just going to attach it, just like so. Oops, get that other tail out of the way. I'm just getting over a really bad cold. Actually, I'm not over it yet. I'm still pretty much in the middle of it. I've been right down for about a week now, and that's why you haven't heard much from me or seen much from me. That's why I sound different in this video. But I really wanted to finish this video up last week, but there's just no way. I didn't have a voice for it, and I wasn't feeling up to doing it. So anyways, I hope you're all staying well. So I'm gonna just finish that off there. I'm gonna hide this, but I won't do it on camera. I'll just thread it and hide it in between the 2 layers. But what you're gonna do now that you've got your sides all beautifully sewn up, you're going to just finish the top here. So we've got this little edge here. It's about a 2-inch edge. We're gonna just sew it down, just like this, right along here, okay? So I'm gonna take this edge, I should really have hidden that one because then it'd be out of my way, but that's okay here. I'm going to just flip it over just like that. Don't make it too hard. It's really not a hard thing. It's very easy. Just gonna just line it up, and you're going to just sew it down, okay? So pick up the first 2 bars of the top row and the first 2 of the bottom row of stitches, just like that. I think this is called the whip stitch. I'm not really a big sewer, so I have a girlfriend who sews and knits and crochets and does everything. She'd tell me what this is, right, Sandy? She'd tell me what stitch this is, but it's the whip stitch. She's a very talented seamstress. Okay, so we're going to sew that up just like this. Nothing too hard. I'm going to just knot it off. Put another knot in there just for security reasons. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just hide that down in between the 2 layers. Pull it out and snip it off. I'm going to go ahead and do that exact same thing to the other side and get that part done. Okay, so there we go. That's the one side done there. I'm going to, of course, like I said, hide that one. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn this one over here. And the tail's on the top corner here, so I'm going to sew back this way. Not a big deal. The idea is to just get it sewn down just like that, okay? So go ahead and do that, and when you have that finished, come back in. We'll do the next section. Okay, so far it's been no problem, right? It's been a fairly easy project so far. But now we're going to grab our Addi 22 needle machine, or your Sentro 22 if that's what you have, and we're going to make 2 of these eyes. Okay, I already made one for you, and then I'm going to show you how to do this crocheted center as well once we're done making the eye. But let's go ahead and do that first. It's essentially the same way that we make a beanie, but only with a lot less rows. Okay, so we're going to put our yarn end behind that first black. We're going to do a long tail cast on in front of the next black, in front and behind, all the way around. Okay, halfway around I set my counter to 0, just so it's ready to begin when I get started. Okay, I'm behind my last white needle, which means I've cast on correctly. If you end up in front of this needle, then you've done something wrong and you need to start over. Okay, so now we're going to put our yarn into our yarn guide, and we're going to crank out 18 rows. This is just a 4-weight yarn. It's I'm using the Bernat Super Value in white. My table's shaking a little bit because I'm on my knees actually on the floor. Doing this generally, I'm sitting in a chair and I've got my legs braced around the legs of the table and it holds it steady. It's a very, very old table. I shared this in one of my videos before that my husband made this when he was in junior high. It was one of his first, one of his woodworking projects. We're way past junior high in our late 50s now. And this table was just the perfect height for me. And he was willing to put a little hole in it for me so that when I'm making a longer project, it goes down into that hole and works great for my Addi 22, because you can't roll up a narrow cylinder like this into, or tube like this into a donut as you're making long panels. And I do that for baby blankets. Sometimes I'm making long panels, and so it goes right down into that little hole, and I just love it. It's awesome. Okay, so now I cut my yarn. Took it out of my yarn feeder. It's in between my last white and my first black needle. And then I'm going to do a long tail cast off, okay? So I'm going to crank my handle. I'm going to take off the first needle. Now, I recently saw a comment that someone made that they're having a lot of trouble casting off because they're dropping stitches all the time. Go very slowly, like take 1 or 2 stitches off, 3. This is my 3rd one, then my 4th one, until you get a little bit of slack on your machine. Maybe do 5 stitches just like this. Only release 1 stitch at a time like this for 5 or 6 stitches, okay? And then you can release All of these are released now that I cranked my handle. This one's still caught behind the needle, so it's not going anywhere. But these ones are all open stitches, and they can fall off these needles. So if you're the person who is having that problem, when you're pulling this one off, if you lift too high, when you're like, for example, when I'm pulling this through, if this piece comes out from underneath there and you're pulling too hard, this is going to fall off these teeth and it's going to drop, okay? So if you're going to release a few stitches at a time here, put your finger over the teeth of that next stitch, pull that through, okay? Loosen it, put your finger over that stitch, bring it through, just like this. And then you'll never drop a stitch, okay? Until you get the feel of your machine and your needle and you know how to do it without worrying about dropping your stitches. That's what you should do. And once you get the feel of it, then you can go ahead and do more at a time. Okay, so that's essentially why you're dropping your stitches. So just take a little bit more time, do it that way, and you should have no problem. Okay, so we're gonna get this off the machine. Okay, this one I gotta back up a little bit, push it down over the teeth. Usually for the last one, that's what I have to do, okay? So now I'm going to just stretch this out in both directions here. I'm gonna remove my Addi, and I'm gonna show you what I do next. All right, so of course you're gonna make 2 of these because we need 2 eyes. You're going to drawstring closed, pull string, that end closed here. And we're just gonna secure it off, okay? You don't need to, like when I'm doing beanies and stuff, I'll go around 2 or 3 times just to reinforce that, but you don't need to for this project, okay? Then we're going to put that needle through the center hole there and bring it out the other end. I pull it a little tight so I can get the knot through. Then we're gonna just do the same thing to this other side, okay? Pull it tight. Excuse me. I've got a tickle in my throat now from talking. All right, so we're gonna draw this one tight here too, and we're going to just secure it. Just like that. Now, I'm just going to take the needle off because it's easier for me to tie these 2. I've got my 2 ends here. One of them can be shorter because I'm going to cut that. It's in my way, so I'm just going to cut it off. I just need one long end. I'm going to tie a knot. It brings those 2 sides together. Okay? And then this can just be hidden inside of there, but what we're going to do with this longer side we need to get it to the ridge here. So we're going to thread our needle here. And we're just going to poke it up in here anywhere and up through. When you lay this flat so that the little center there is actually in the center, you're going to just bring this up through and bring it up to the ridge there, just to the rim. Okay, just like so. Okay, but if I don't tie this off, what we're gonna do is we're gonna drawstring it around the outside edge here, and if I don't tie this off right here before I begin that, when I pull it to drawstring it, it's gonna pull it from the center here, and I'm gonna have a wonky edge right there. So I'm gonna just take this, I'm gonna make a knot. Okay. So now when I pull this later, when I'm closing my edge here with the drawstring here, it's not gonna pull it down through here. Okay. So now I'm just gonna go underneath. You see all these little ridges here from your stitches, and make sure that you're up at the edge, and I'm going to go under one, over one, under one, over one, under one, over one, just like that all the way around. Now if you need to leave a little loop there just so you can see where you started and where you're going to end, go ahead and do that too, or put a little marker there. It'll pull tight once you draw this closed. Okay, all the way around just like this, and of course you're going to do this twice, one for each eye. 'Tis the season for sickness. If it's not COVID, it's a bad cold, bad flu, whatever it is that you're dealing with. We'll get through it, won't we? I will just, as I'm doing this and I'm thinking about you, I'm going to just tell you, when I'm done, as I'm doing this, I'm going to say a little prayer for all of you who are watching this, that you remain healthy through this season, that your friends and your loved ones can remain healthy, and that God will just give you a great season of togetherness during this Christmas season, okay? So stay healthy, my friends. So there I know that that's where I started. So I'm just gonna pull this just a little bit. I'm gonna put my fingers in there because I don't want to pull it too tight. I just want to pull that little loop there. Okay, so now I've got my little space there. I'm gonna grab my stuffing. I'm gonna I just take about a handful here, and then I just roll it around in a ball like that. I'll go slow so it's not so hard on the eyes and the camera. I know that's too big already, so I'm gonna take some of this out of there. You know what? I'm just gonna make a little mention here. I don't know if I can get this bag underneath this camera very well here because it's close to my table, but I'm just gonna see. This is the one I got from Michael's. It's called, that's French. Jojo could read that. I can't read it. Classic fiber fill. You all know Jojo. Classic fiber fill. And it's for stuffing. It's loops and threads. I see a huge difference between this one and the box. I buy the box that's got 5 pounds of stuffing in it for 30 bucks here in Canada. And by the way, when you buy 5 bags of 4 bags or something, however it works out to the same cost. You don't get your discount on the box, but you get your discount on these bags. And we figured out, my husband's great at math, and so I said, figure out how many bags of these bags are in the box and which is easier or cheaper to buy. Because these bags you get your 30% discount on, but it works out to pennies the same. So it doesn't matter whether you buy the bag with a discount, the bag's equivalent to the amount that's in the box with the discount, or if you buy the box that doesn't have the discount, it's pretty much essentially the same price, just so you know. But I find that this one that's in the bag, I'm sorry to say, I don't like it as much. And the reason being is because, I lost my small needle as I'm talking. The reason being is because when I'm hiding my yarn ends and stuff, this is so dense. I cannot get my point of my needle through it very easily. But I find on that other one, my needle will slip through no problem. So that's just an observation that I have come to through that I've learned as I've been using this particular bag, because I went to Michael's to buy the box and they were out of them, so I had to resort to the smaller bag. And it's very hard to get the point of my needle to pass through because it's so dense. Now you might like that. I already mentioned Sandy in this video once. She's a good friend of mine. She uses this rather than the box, and she prefers it. So she likes the feel of this one better. So it's all in how you feel and how it is with working with you, like with your fingers and your needles, how you find it. Okay, so that's closed good enough. I'm gonna put my black pupil over top of that, so that's good like that. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this needle and see, I can't get it through. I'm going to hide that, and I'm going to throw that piece of yarn away, and then we've got our eye just like that. Okay, it doesn't matter, like I would say put the nicest side at the back, because you're going to cover the worst side with the pupil. So there we go. I'm going to cover that side there. So you're going to grab yourself your crochet hook. You want a 4mm crochet hook is what I use. If you don't have a 4mm, but you have smaller, go smaller rather than bigger. Otherwise your pupil is going to be too big for your eye. Okay, so grab your crochet hook and your black 4-weight yarn, and see me back and we'll get going on the pupil. Okay, so let's get a magic circle going here. You're going to put it behind your first your two fingers there, cross it over, and then you've got it crossed over, but you've got your 2 bars there. You're going to go under your first bar, pick up that next one, bring it through, then you twist your hook. Get your fingers out of there as best you can. And you're going to do 7 single you're going to chain 1, then you're going to do 7 single crochets into that loop. So 1, 2, 3. Now I would suggest after your 3rd one or so, you take a stitch marker and you mark your first stitch, because when you're working with black yarn, oh my goodness, it is so hard to see your stitches. It's like, and when you're already like wearing glasses and you know, whatever, it makes it equally as hard. So put your stitch marker in there and then go 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. Then you're going to you're going to pull on this yarn end to tighten up your circle there. Then now you're going to see where your, let me get that out of the way, where your bobby pin is. You're going to go underneath there. See how much easier that is? You're going to slip stitch to join, so yarn over, go through both loops. And then you're going to chain one, and then into that very same stitch, you're going to do 2 single crochets. 1 and 2. And you're going to do that 2 single crochets in every stitch around until you get to 14. Go ahead and mark your first stitch if you like. Okay, you're going to get till you get to 14 stitches all the way around, and then I'll meet you back. Okay, so I've got 14 stitches all around. I'm going to pull up on my bobby pin there to get underneath, then I can take it out. And I'm going to do a slip stitch to join. Yarn over and pull it through both. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull it through that loop. I'm going to leave quite a long tail for sewing it on. Oops, I'm getting all caught up here. For sewing it on, I'm going to pull that through. Okay, pull it tight. Now, if you pull on, generally I carry this as I'm doing my second row, and I hide it that way, but I didn't for the sake of you who are new at doing this. Then what you're going to do is you just hold on to your piece and you pull this really tight so it closes up that end, and then you just are going to knot it off, okay? Just like so. Now you don't have to cut it too short, but cut it just like that. Leave it ½ an inch or something just on the back there, okay? And then we've got it ready to sew on. So we're going to thread our needle. We're going to grab our eye. Okay, so that's my nicer side. I'm going to have that in the back of my project. So I'm going to cover the side that I closed with the drawstring. Then I'm going to put my needle into the center of my pupil, and then into the center of my eye, so I know that it's centered on there. And then I'm going to just stitch it around, okay? So pick up a few stitches and go a few of the white really close to the rim of the pupil, then go under each stitch all the way around just like this. Now you want to go close to the pupil because you don't want black lines going across all the way around as you go. You need to be close to your working project, the part that you're sewing on, okay? And get that done all the way around, and I'll see you back. Okay, I've made it around, so now I'm just going to pick up a little stitch there, knot it off, hold that down with my thumb there just so I can get it tight, and I'm going to do one more. Knot it off, then just weave it through, just like so. Cut it off. Shape it, and we've got our 2 eyes. Okay, one got a little bit more stuffing in it than the other, so I have a few more eyes that I've made. So I'm going to grab one that's closer to both sides here, and I'll stick my crochet hook. If that happens too, stick your crochet hook into the center there, and just pull some stuffing out. Careful that you don't grab a stitch like what I did. I often have to do this actually because they look to me like they're the same, and then they're not. So anyways, I'm not going to do that on camera, but that's what you can do. Or you can poke a little bit more stuffing into the other one, or you can just leave it because it's a yip yip and it doesn't have to look exactly the same, and it'll look cute if one's a little bit bigger actually. It's actually not bad, so I'll play with that and get it done with no problem. So now what we're going to do is we're going to I'm just going to leave it because for the sake of this video, I'm going to thread my needle with one of the eyes there that I have. This one has no extra end, so I'm going to pop that up into there. If I can get it to come up through the center there. See what I mean? I cannot get my needles into this particular fiber fill. I just don't like it at all. All the power to you, Sandy, if this is what you use, but not for me. This is not for me. Okay, so there we go. And I'm going to poke it up through there. And then I'm going to take my other eye, and I'm going to just grab a center piece there, and I'm going to just sew them together just easily, just like that. It doesn't have to be perfectly lined up either because it looks nice actually when it's not. So just like that, you've got them connected. Cute, 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 cute. Okay, then you're going to come to the back and you're just going to work it up a little bit just so that they're more secure. Okay, there's no fanciness that needs to be done here because you don't see it. Okay, so I'm going to just connect that one more time. Just because I want them to be connected and secure. Okay, so that's basically it. Now tie it off. Another little knot here. Just like that. And then you're going to go ahead and attach it to your piece. So what you're going to do is you're going to take you've got your piece here. I'm going to remove my camera up again. All right, so now that we've got our eyes attached together and we've got our sides done up on our body, we're going to thread the needle. We're going to take a look at this piece right here. We're going to just flip it down, okay? Then you're going to put the eyes, basically just turn it upside down is basically a better way to explain it, okay? Then you're going to put your eyes in the center like that with, let me just grab my tape measure here, with you want to have about an inch, 3/4 of an inch. You can see what I've got there, about an inch to 3/4 of an inch below the edge here. And then you're going to just take your needle and you're going to sew them on, okay? So I'm going to bring this back up into the center of on the bottom center of my eye, just so I have a beginning place to work with. I'm going to place them where I want them. Then I'm going to just go through 2 layers here. I'm not going to stay on camera and do this with you. And then I'm going to sew it back and forth, maybe 3 times. Then I'm going to run my needle through the eye up to this other side, and I'm going to do it there as well. And when I get that part done, I'll come back on camera, okay? So go ahead and do that. Okay, we've got our eyes on it. It's already taking shape and looking like something. I love it. It's awesome. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to pass your needle to the back. Okay, I'm going to turn it around here. You're going to pass your needle to the back, and you're going to just reinforce it again closer to the back here. So I'm going to grab that there. I want to make sure that the very middle section here is tight together. Okay, so see how I just tightened that up? I just closed that little gap. Okay, and then I'm going to, and you don't see this white thread on the other side. So even though you're going through 2 layers, you don't see it. So if you're not using plush yarn like what I'm using, then use the same, you might want to use well, no, you'll still use your white, but you won't see it. I was going to say you'd use the same color as your body, and you can choose to do that too. Whatever you like. Whatever you think looks best, you go ahead and do. But I'm going to go through 2 rows of stitches just like that. And then I'm going to reinforce these little eyes here again one more time. Just like so. So now they're closer together in the back. They're reinforced. And you've got them looking fantastic in the front. Just like that. And so tie this off and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so for this next part, we're going to make the little loop thing that hold the little hanger for the back of our yip. I'm using an H hook, which is a 5.00 millimeter hook, 5 millimeter hook. It's my favorite hook. 5 millimeter and 5.5 are the ones that I use the most. We're going to wrap it around our finger. We're going to do a little slip knot onto our hook, just like that with our double strand. Okay, and then I'm going to just chain up 18, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. I'm going to do one more just to pull it through. Okay, just like that. So you pull your end through just like that to tighten it off. And there's your little hanger. That's all you need. And so I'm just going to cut off this little end here, just so it's not quite so long and I don't have to fight with it. Okay, then we're going to go to the back of our yip. we're going to thread our needle with one side here. We're going to just pick this up, and we're going to go through both layers and come out that side just like that. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the other side, but the opposite direction. Okay, so I'm going to thread my needle, go through both layers, can't sew with my left hand, and up. There we go. And I'm going to pull it just so that if you pull too hard, then your work is going to go into there too. So we're just going to pull it up so that the beginning stitches are flush with the project there, okay? Then we're going to tie a knot. Just like so, okay? Then I'm going to thread my needle one more time. And I'm going to hide that between the two layers. Do that with this side. And that's as easy as I can get it for you. Very, very easy. Okay, snip these off. Okay. Now the reason why you can do it from this side is because this is hanging, so you don't see it anyways. But then you're going to just take another piece of yarn. Okay, let me just go grab an extra piece. Okay, I'm just going to use white here. This yarn is sturdier, so I'm going to choose to use that. And I'm just going to put this, lay this one side just over the side of the eyeball there. Just over the side of the eyeball there. Then I'm going to just reinforce it. So we're just going to sew it up just a few times. Okay, just to hold it in place so that it doesn't pull out of here or rip there, and it's just secured. Okay, coming around the other side. Just like so. Okay, so I've got that secured to my eye. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and do that on the other side. So I'm just going to pass this through there and under. Okay, and we're going to do the exact same thing to the other side, just securing it up a few stitches. You know, the last one I made of these, I think I forgot to do this step, so I got to go back and look at it. I'm in a craft sale this coming weekend, and so I'm going to be putting some of these Yip Yips in my craft sale. It's my first craft sale I've ever done. I'm a little nervous about it because I don't know what to expect. It's in a new location. It's the first time they've done a craft sale in that location. Yeah, so none of us really know what to expect, but I've got lots of stuff, and we'll see how it goes. If I do great, then awesome. If I don't do so great, then that's okay too. I will just save it and use it in another sale, or figure something out with it, take it and hand them out to some people downtown who need them, or there's all kinds of things I can do. So really, I love this craft, so no matter how the sale goes, I'll be happy. It's okay. I mean, I hope it goes well, but if it doesn't, then I don't know what to expect. I've never been in a craft sale before. But I have lots of beanies. I have some baby blankets. I have these Yip Yips. I have cuddle bears. I have sleepy time bears. I have scarf and hat sets from the Karen yarn, the video that I have on my channel. I have some countertop gnome towel holders. And yeah, I've got quite a few things, so I'm hoping that it will be a success. All right, so that's how we attach our little handle there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do our antenna. So go ahead and get yourself 4 pipe cleaners. We need 2 for each antenna, okay? Go get yourself 4 pipe cleaners of the colors that you want, and then we'll move on to the next part. Okay, so I'm going to take these 2 pipe cleaners. I'm going to slightly twist the end. Then I'm going to just twist them like this, one over the other, all the way down. Don't make them tight, just twist it all the way down two of them just gives it a little bit more stability, okay? And then we're gonna just bend that end down. We don't want any sharp things hurting the kids. We're gonna bend that in, and then we're gonna turn it up once, and then turn it up again. And that's our antenna side. That's gonna be the top. So then you're gonna take the yarn that matches it the best, and you're going to just go up into that little loop, and you're just gonna secure this in place. Oops, losing it out of my needle. Secure it in place with a few little stitches. Okay, you can go around like this. Then it's not gonna unwind, and you're also covering up that little sharp edge that's there, okay? So just like that. Okay, then I'm going to, oops, let me just turn it here. I'm going to just make sure that it's secure in there. So I have enough on there, so I don't need to do any more. It's just a few stitches just to secure it, okay? And then you're going to tie a knot. With these two. Okay, and another one to secure it. Okay, and then you're going to snip these off as close to that little knot as you can. And then I just kind of push them in there and take my little needle end and tuck them in. Okay, and that's the top of your antenna. Now for the bottom, you're going to do the same thing in the sense that you're going to just pinch this up and just go twice like that. Then you're going to take your little creature here. You're going to put it so that your antenna, the circle part, is facing, oops, am I out of the camera here? The circle part is facing in. Mind you, you can change that later when it's all assembled too, that's okay. So let's for now just worry about getting this little guy on. So I'm gonna take my white yarn that matches my eyeball. I'm gonna find my needle, thread my needle, okay? And then from there, I'm going to put my antenna down so it touches, it's right down to the very bottom there, right to the very base, and comes right up into the center of the eyeball. And I'm gonna sew it on, going around the little circle here and making sure that this is really tightly secured on. And then I'm gonna go up the antenna till I'm halfway, or this is the halfway point, right where that little circle is. Go about a ½ inch higher. So take your antenna and sew it around this little circular part here that we just made, and up the rim until you get about a ½ inch past the center point, up to about there, and secure it on that way. Then you do the exact same thing for the second antenna, and when you've done that, come back and see me. All right, so we have our two antennas put onto our little yip. We've got our little holder. We're gonna turn him around. And he's really coming together here. So how I do my antennas is you have this little piece here, the very bottom part goes straight up, then you bend it out and then up. That's how I do mine. I think something like that. I don't know. You can do yours however you want. They're not going to stay anyways. The kids are going to play with them and they're going to be bent all of different shapes anyways, however they want them to be. But you just play with it. I do try to mirror one from the other, and you wouldn't know it looking at this the way it is right now, but let's see. Oh, these things make me laugh. Okay, so then up like that and kind of like that. Is that the same? Okay, so let me just bend this one over here. So anyways, you play with your antenna and get them how you want them to be. Everyone might look a little bit different, but that's what makes them so absolutely adorable. So now that we've got that part done, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put the fringe on the bottom. So go ahead and grab a piece of cardboard and your yarn, and I'll see you right back. Okay, so I've got my cardboard, and for me, I like to use one that is 6.5 inches wide. Doesn't matter how long you make it. The longer you make it, the You know, the more wraps you're going to be able to get on it, of course. But then I just take my yarn and I begin wrapping it around. Okay? And you wrap it around and wrap it and wrap it and wrap it and wrap it as many times as you want, as you can. I'm going to do a double strand. So I'm going to do the yellow and the variegated green, and I'm going to put one strand of each together. Now, when you make these, of course, they're going to be 13 inches long because I'm going to just cut them once, and so they're going to be 13 inches long, but then you put them in half again to make the fringe, which takes them back down to 6.5. So go ahead and wrap, and when you're done wrapping your cardboard, then come back and I'll show you what I do. All right, so I didn't count, but I probably wrapped it about, I don't know, 25 to 30 times, because when you think about it, our yip yip is 46 stitches around, which means you've got 23 across the, the top here. So you only need 23, between 20 and 23 of each color. So keep that in mind when you do it. And so then what I do is I just cut it across. Doesn't matter where you cut it. I mentioned this in one of my other videos too. Like the only one that's going to be the wrong sizes are the ones that are at the end that we're left hanging. But if you cut it on the side here, or if you cut it in the middle, doesn't matter. You just need one cut. And so then your one cut will make these 13 inches long, except for a few odd stragglers that were on the ends. Okay, so these will be 13 inches long. I can see a short one right there. I'm just going to pull it out. And when you pull them out, when you're adding them to your project, you'll notice it and you just won't use them, okay? So go ahead and do that with your second color if you're gonna do a second color. If you're gonna only do one color, then of course you're gonna double the amount that you just did. So go ahead, do your second color, and then again, I'll meet you back. Okay, so I've got my fringes cut out. I'm gonna grab one of each color, one yellow, one green. I'm gonna put them together, then I'm gonna put them in half, okay? Then I'm gonna find the center. So I've put it in half, I'm gonna find the center, and I'm gonna just hold my finger there. I'm going to go to the bottom of my yip yip, and I am going to just find a space that I wanna start. I'm gonna pick up 2 bars. I'm gonna go from behind to in front, and I'll show you why. You go from behind to the front, and then you put your hook in that loop, you pull it through, and I'm gonna do one more over to the side here, but it's just easier to show you this way. I've got my loop. I'm gonna grab those 4 yarn ends. I'm gonna pull them through. Now the reason why I put my hook in from the back to the front is because you see this little bar that goes over? I want that to be at the front of my yip yip. Otherwise at the back, it's the back part of the tassel, so of the fringe, so I don't wanna do that. I might not actually do one more over because I don't want it to be pointing out the side there. So I missed this first one and went into this next one, and so you might want to try that too. Okay, and so I'm going to take another one and another green. I'm going to put them in half. Okay, and if the edges aren't completely to the end, aren't completely even, that's okay. It actually will look even better. So don't try to get it perfect because it'll look better if it's not perfect. I know for those of us who are perfectionists, that's hard to imagine, but okay. So then I'm gonna leave maybe the width of my crochet hook and go into that next, pick up 2 bars. However far you want to space them, okay? Grab my loops, pick up my 4 ends, bring it through, and finish it off. See, just like that. And I'm gonna do that all the way down, and when I'm finished that, I'll be finished my yip yip, yay. So go ahead and finish that, and then I'll see you back at the end. Okay, so I did 17 different fringes across, and you'll see that it's a little bit jagged at the bottom here. So like I said, you don't have to make it perfect, but if there are some that are extra long, like this one here, then cut that up a little bit. Otherwise, I love the staggered look to that. I think it looks very, very nice, but there are a couple that are just extra long. Then just trim those up and make it look a little bit better that way, okay? So there you go. That's the fringes done now. So we've completed our little our little guy. And of course, when you're watching a video, it takes longer to get through when you're doing your first one. But now that you've got the gist of it, you've got the pattern, it really doesn't take too long to whip these off. Spend one night watching a Christmas movie or something and make a bunch of eyes. Throw them in a bin. You got those ready. Cut a bunch of tassels and then go to town and just get her done. I just think these are so cute. They look great with as a stocking stuffer. You like fill them with little Christmas treats and hang them by the mantle, or use it as a gift bag. Fill it with your, the gift that you want to give somebody, a pair of pajamas in there, and make it a pajama bag. It's just a little bag that the kids can just grab with their hands like this, and just carry wherever they want to go, filled with all their special little treats. So I'm going to adjust this camera so you can have a better look here. But thanks for sticking with me and watching this video. I will shut it off now, but I'll come right back on and I'll show you some pictures of ones that I made in the summertime, actually, because they're all sold out and gone. But I hung them out on my clothesline just so you can see what they look like flying in the wind. So I'm going to post that right after this, and I hope you enjoy that. Okay, thanks, my friends, for joining me. I appreciate you very much. Have a great day.